The Ravens just moved on from a legendary head coach, and now they're staring at a decision that can change the entire direction of the franchise. The defense slipped, the pressure disappeared, the intensity just wasn't there, and right in the middle of all that, one name shows up that checks every missing box: Jim Schwartz. He's coming off a dominant defense, tons of sacks, an aggressive mindset, and the kind of leadership that flips the energy in the locker room. This isn't some random gamble. This is a guy with history, identity, and a real connection to Baltimore. Stick around until the end, because the details here really matter. You're going to see how his defensive numbers explain why so many people are already calling Schwartz the perfect target, how his aggressive mentality could bring back the old-school Ravens identity, and how his connection to the city adds even more weight to this possible hire. Once you put all of that together, this choice starts to look completely different. Jim Schwartz shows up in this moment as that type of person you look at and think, yeah, this is exactly what's been missing right now. He runs a Browns defense, but the Ravens are eyeing him for something bigger, running the whole team. He's been around the league a long time, has dealt with tough situations, and knows how to handle pressure. He's the kind of coach who walks into a locker room, and the tone changes immediately just by the way he talks and organizes things. And with Schwartz, it's not only about X's and O's, it's about attitude. He likes teams that punch back, defenses that don't back down, and players who step on the field already confident. He brings that energy, that, let's go, we can flip this feeling. For a Ravens team that just made huge decisions and is in a critical moment, that matters a lot. You can tell he doesn't shy away from big responsibility. Another reason Schwartz fits this job so well is personality. He's straightforward, communicates clearly, demands a lot, but he also supports his players. He feels like that coach who looks you in the eye and tells you exactly what you need to hear. No fluff. Leaders like that tend to change a locker room fast, and that's exactly what Baltimore is looking for right now. A real restart with someone who knows how to lead a group. That's why his name keeps getting louder in the conversation. He's not just another candidate. He's someone who makes sense for where this team is and what it wants back. And once you look at what he's done recently, it's easy to understand why so many people have started paying attention to him, especially because of the defensive work that has been one of the best in the league. When you look at what Schwartz did in Cleveland, everything becomes even clearer. His defense isn't just good. It's annoying for opposing offenses all game long. They rack up sacks, pressure quarterbacks, and don't let offenses breathe. That shows a coach who knows how to build something truly strong. Not just on paper, but on the field where it matters. The best part? Players buy into what he sells. You can see it by the way his defense plays. Fast, aggressive, always closing in. Those numbers aren't an accident. That comes from practice, discipline, and a coach who actually knows how to teach. Schwartz turns talent into production, and that carries a ton of weight when you're talking about hiring a new head coach. Now, when you compare that to what the Ravens went through last season, the difference jumps off the page. Baltimore struggled to pressure quarterbacks and gave up a lot of yards. Then you look at a coach who did exactly the opposite with the Browns, and you instantly think, yeah, that might be what's missing here. It's like finally finding the right puzzle piece you've been searching for months. That defensive strength isn't just a pretty stat line. It reflects Schwartz's entire way of working. And that identity he puts into his teams leads us straight into another key point. His coaching style, the mindset he builds in the locker room, and how that changes the way players step onto the field. Schwartz doesn't like defenses that sit back and wait. He wants groups that attack. That pressure, that make the opponent uncomfortable from the very first snap. It's that mentality of we're not just reacting, we're taking control of this game. That rubs off on players and completely changes how they approach every down. That firm style also shows up in the way he communicates. He's clear, he's direct, and he holds guys accountable. At the same time, everyone knows the plan and where they fit in it. With him, it becomes simple. Either you play tough or you don't play. That sets a high standard inside the locker room and forces a whole team to rise together. Once a coach puts that identity on the field, it's not just scheme, it's atmosphere. Opponents walk in knowing it's going to be a physical game, and your own team walks in believing it can dominate. For a Ravens team that wants its defensive presence and intensity back, that means everything. It feels like getting back to being one of those defenses other teams circle on the calendar. That strong style connects directly to his story in the NFL, everything he's lived, learned, and messed up along the way. And that leads straight into another big point. Schwartz's past as a head coach and the real chance to write a new chapter with a much stronger team.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Yes, Jim Schwartz has already been a head coach, and everybody knows his numbers in Detroit weren't pretty. But when you really look at it, you see he worked with rosters full of limitations and very few true difference makers outside of a couple stars. Even so, he learned a lot from that stretch, especially about leadership and building culture. Time went by. He reinvented himself as a defensive coordinator and proved he can lead an elite unit. That completely changes how people view him now. He's no longer just a guy who failed in Detroit. He's someone who fell, came back, grew, and now arrives with way more experience for a second shot. Getting that second chance with a more talented roster and a stable organization like the Ravens is a totally different story. Here, he'd have high-level players, a competitive core, and an environment that's used to chasing big goals. It's like giving someone who's already evolved the right tools to finally show everything they're capable of doing. And there's one detail that makes this even more interesting: his personal and professional connection to Baltimore, something that brings him even closer to franchise and gives his possible return a whole different meaning. Schwartz wouldn't just be a coach arriving in some random city. He's from the area and has already been on the Ravens coaching staff in the past. He knows the environment, the fans, the energy of the team, and the type of football Baltimore loves to watch. That creates a different kind of bond, almost like coming back home, but this time in a bigger role. Having someone who understands the local culture helps a lot. He knows how much a tough, physical defense has always been part of the Ravens' identity, and he fits right into that. He wouldn't be coming in to reinvent the entire franchise. He'd be coming in to reignite something that has always been there. That connection also gives him extra motivation. Coming back to a place that's already part of your story, now as the main leader, is huge for any coach. It's a chance to write a brand new chapter in a place that already matters in your career, but now with way more responsibility and spotlight. Because of all that, Jim Schwartz's name keeps getting stronger in this whole Ravens conversation. Experience, recent work, firm style, and ties to the city all stacked together into a story that makes sense and puts him among the most intriguing candidates to take over this team. Right now, the Ravens situation is simple. After John Harbaugh's exit, they need someone who brings back identity, intensity, and respect on the field. Jim Schwartz checks all those boxes: dominant defense, aggressive mentality, experience, and a genuine connection to Baltimore. It's no coincidence he's become the center of attention. Everything we've seen, the numbers, his style, his history, points to a coach ready to take over a competitive roster and put the defense back in the spotlight. The idea of the perfect target stops being just a headline and starts making real sense when you combine performance, leadership, and how well he fits what the Ravens have always been. Now I want to hear from you. Would you hire Jim Schwartz as the Ravens' next head coach, or do you have another name in mind? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you think, because this moment is massive for the future of the team, and your take absolutely matters in this conversation.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself.